Welcome to At Home with Music. Before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. So many of you have subscribed in this past month, and I'm grateful beyond words. Now, the Christmas song that I want to talk about in this video shows up in commercials every year. You see them on TV, and now you can see them on YouTube as well. It shows up in commercials with new lyrics added to advertise some product. And then there's another song that always seems to show up at this time of year with altered lyrics, and that's Carol of the Bells. And right now it's being used to push some kind of cell phone plan. But the song I want to talk about today is Deck the Halls. Now, I talked about this song in a video about 2 years ago, but I thought I'd come back to it today. And what I'd like to do is give you some of the historical background behind this song, and then show you how to play it. Deck the Halls is a traditional Welsh Christmas carol that dates back to the 16th century. The melody of the song is believed to be Welsh in origin, and the lyrics were later added in the 19th century. And so this carol has become a very popular and festive part of Christmas celebrations around the world. The English lyrics for Deck the Halls were written by Scottish musician Thomas Oliphant in the 19th century. Oliphant adapted the tune and created the familiar verses that we sing today. Now, here are the original English words, and you might notice some differences here. Deck the hall. Notice it's just deck the hall at this point, not halls. Deck the hall with boughs of holly, and then there's all the fa-la-la-la-las. I'm going to leave those out from this point on. So deck the hall with boughs of holly, 'tis the season to be jolly. Fill the mead cup, drain the barrel, troll the ancient Christmas carol. Sounds like a drinking song. Now, since I'm a teetotaler, I had to look up mead since I've heard of it, but I wasn't really sure what it is or what it was. Well, mead, it's also called hydromel. Mead is a nicer name, I guess. It's an alcoholic beverage made by fermenting honey mixed with water and sometimes with added ingredients like fruits, spices, grains, or hops. And so we're called upon in this particular version of Deck the Hall to drain the mead cup. The next verse says, see the flowing bowl before us. Strike the harp and join in chorus. Follow me in merry measure while I sing of beauty's treasure. Fast away the old year passes. Hail the new, ye lads and lasses. Laughing, quaffing all together, heedless of the wind and weather. Now, maybe you don't know what quaffing is, although you could probably figure it out from the context. To quaff means to drink, especially drinking an alcoholic beverage. The connotation is you're not just sipping at it, you're quaffing, you're downing it, you're having a good time. And so this version of Deck the Hall, it seems to be more about drinking than anything else. Now, a variation of the lyrics appears in the December 1877 issue of the Pennsylvania School Journal. And in this version, all references to drinking have been removed. And so now the lyric reads this way, and this is more familiar to us today. Deck the hall with boughs of holly, 'tis the season to be jolly. Don we now our gay apparel. Let's all get dressed up. So we're not filling the mead cup and draining the barrel, but we're donning our gay apparel. Troll the ancient Christmas carol. Sometimes it comes out Yuletide carol. See the blazing Yule before us. So not see the flowing bowl before us, but now we're sitting in front of a fire. Strike the harp, join the chorus. Follow me in merry measure while I tell of Christmas treasure. Not while I sing of beauty's treasure. So the text has been changed to be more about Christmas, about the celebration of Christmas. Fast away the old year passes. Hail the new, ye lads and lasses. Sing we joyous all together. So now we're just singing. We're not laughing and quaffing all together, heedless of the wind and weather. This Christmas carol started out as Deck the Hall, but around 1892, it began to be pluralized into Deck the Halls. Now, this Christmas carol actually has original lyrics in Welsh, and they were put in the original 1862 publication. In fact, Oliphant's English lyrics were published right alongside the Welsh lyrics. Now, some people think that his words, Oliphant's words, were a translation of the Welsh original. In fact, this is not really the case. It's not a strict or literal translation of the Welsh. Now, I'm not going to pretend to pronounce the Welsh lyrics, but the translation is more like, "The best pleasure on New Year's Eve is house and fire and a pleasant family, a pure heart and blonde ale, a gentle song and the voice of the harp." But anyway, what about the tune? The melody of Deck the Halls is based on a traditional Welsh tune called Nos Galan, which means New Year's Eve. So this song was originally about New Year's Eve, and the tune's origins, you can trace it back to the musical manuscripts of a harpist named John Parry, who also lived in the 18th century. And so, of course, it's a lively, a joyful melody, and it makes it well suited for festive occasions. So why is Deck the Halls so popular? Well, the tune is easy to learn, it's easy to sing, and of course everybody can join in singing fa la 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 la, especially if they can't remember all the words. Now this song has evolved over the centuries. Countless artists and musicians have put their own spin on this carol, and this is one of those Christmas carols that's popular around the world. It has transcended cultural boundaries. It's become a staple in Christmas celebrations worldwide, and it's often performed in a variety of musical styles. You have traditional choral arrangements, you have contemporary pop arrangements, you have jazz renditions of it, you have big band versions of it. You can strum it on the guitar and play it. At any rate, it's a very festive song. It's even one of those songs that makes you feel festive, even if you're just hearing it played. So, now that you've learned a little bit about the background of this famous Christmas carol, let's play it together. And for that purpose, I'm going to switch to the overhead camera, once again, so you can see my hands and follow along, and I'll show you some different ways to play Deck the Halls. Let's take a look at how to play Deck the Halls. Now, this melody is so familiar that you could probably pick it out by ear, but I've written it down for you here. So as you can see, we're in the key of C. Now, this is a song that's been played in many different keys, but we're going to start out by playing it in the key of C. The melody starts here on G. So let's play through it once together. And I'm going to take it somewhat slowly so you can follow along. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's not too hard to play, is it? Now, let's figure out what chords we want to use. Now, you can see that this particular lead sheet, I have not put any chords in. So I'm going to show you what chords we could use. There are many different ways we can do this as far as adding chords. We can keep it very simple. For example, we can just play, obviously we're in the key of C, and so we want to start with the C major chord and keep using it until it doesn't work anymore. And we'll play a chord, just a block chord right now, at the beginning of each measure. Sounds like right there we need to change chords. So we could try F. F works. What if we substitute D minor? That works too. And we can use the same chords again because the second line, or or the second phrase, is exactly the same as the first. And then we obviously need to change chords here, so let's try using G7. That works. Now, you've probably heard this song so many times that you know that there's going to be a different chord there. So there you go. We have C, A minor, G, D7, G, and then we're back to C. Now, the A pretty much tells us that we want to play an F major chord because A is part of the F major chord. And then it's got to go back to C, or it could go to G. But it sounds more like it ought to go to C. One of the things you can do when you're playing this song is you can actually change chords more often, depending on where the melody is going. Go back to the first measure, for example. Now you can stay on C, but since D is part of the G chord, you could quickly go to G and then back to C. And then you can do the same thing here. Now look, you can even change here on this D and then back to C, so you're going G, C, G, C. G, C, G, C. And then here, you could substitute D minor for G7, and then go to G7, and then a G could go here. Now that one is already changing chords a lot there. And you could even get fancy and throw in a C7. So that's how you would play it, using the melody with your right hand and block chords with your left. Now, we can play it in a little bit more of a fancy way. We could try a bass pattern like this. Let me play that a little more slowly so you can see what I'm doing. Here's what the left hand is doing. We're playing the root and then the other two notes of the C major chord. We're going back and forth. And then we go to the D minor, da da dee da dee, and then we play the chords here. So it sounds like this. Now, one other thing I just realized we could do, you see where we reach the D minor chord? We could actually throw a G7 in there. So it would sound like this. I kind of like that. Then let's put in the D minor, G7, C, Make a big dramatic pause there. You can also create an accompaniment using a sort of a version of the Alberti bass. And then switch to chords here. So notice there I played and then back to this. So that's just a couple of different ways that you can play this song. The possibilities are endless, of course. You could play something like this. Now, let's say you want to accompany somebody. All you have to worry about now is playing the chords. This song has been performed so many different ways. Some people even do it sort of a jazzy version. Thank you for taking the time to play Deck the Halls with me. I hope you had some fun with it. Maybe you can even play it for your friends, and you can all sing it together. Now, this is going to be our last Christmas play-along for this year, but you can visit the previous play-along videos that I've done with Christmas songs, and I will leave links to them in the description. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I've got a lot more to share with you in the coming year here on At Home with Music. Thanks again for watching.